Hey everybody, so today I'm going to be making the Crispy Mushroom Galette recipe from Claire Saffitz Dessert Person. So I hope you'll watch and maybe even try it out yourself. So you're gonna start out by making your flaky olive oil dough. This is a combo of flour, some sugar, and then some kosher salt. You're going to want to whisk all that together, just get it really evenly distributed. And then you're going to take your hand or a tool and create a well in the middle as if you were making some pasta. So this is me doing that. And that is where you're going to pour in 6 tablespoons of olive oil. The olive oil you'll see me using is from Trader Joe's. It's really well priced. It's cold pressed, extra virgin, and it's just really high quality. It's the best I've found. So whenever I'm making something, well, really any time with olive oil, but especially if you are going to be able to really taste it like a focaccia, this is my go-to brand. So now you're going to mix that together with a fork. It's going to be a bit dry until we add the water. So go in with a fork and then your hand, and then you're going to add in some warm water, some hot water. Do the same thing, fork, and then mix it with your hand until you can get a kind of flaky ball of dough. You're gonna have to add a little bit more water to get the remnants out. Just go teaspoon by teaspoon. Then you're gonna form it into a ball. You don't wanna knead it too much because you don't wanna form gluten, although it is olive oil, so it won't form as quickly as other doughs. Once you get it into a ball, just wrap it in plastic wrap and make it into a square and put it in your fridge for about an hour. Next, you're going to take 2 pieces of parchment paper, and after your dough's been in the fridge for about an hour, you're going to actually roll out the dough between these 2 pieces. Just keeps it from sticking, makes the whole process a bit easier. I won't make you watch me roll it out because it took a long time because it's cold. But once you get it to the desired thickness, you're going to add another tablespoon of olive oil to the top, and then use a pastry brush to spread it across the entire dough. Now you're going to fold up your dough from one end to the other and use the base of your hand to flatten it out. You want a long rectangle. Give it a little roll out to the desired thickness. I am being very specific and precise. I wanted to make sure it came out correctly. Once I was happy, I gave it one fold in, another fold in, just like that. And then you're going to repeat the process of folding it into a rectangle and putting it in the fridge. I just wanted to make sure here that I got it into the right dimensions, wrapped it up, and then put it back in to cool for another hour. While that's cooling, we're going to get started on our filling. So we're starting out with our leeks. Cut off the green part, cut them in half, and then slice them thinly. This will be the base of our galette. Now for the mushrooms, we're going to cut these into 1-inch pieces. I wanted to leave some definition of the shape of the mushroom, although I'll talk about later, I think I should have gone a little bit thinner. You want to pull out 2 sprigs of fresh rosemary because we're going to actually throw those in with the mushrooms when we cook them. And then you want to take some of the leaves and just finely chop them because we're going to throw those on top at the end with the other seasonings. You also want to finely chop a couple cloves of garlic and grate one of them. Quick break so you can meet Atticus. This is my little helper, and then I lost my balance, but my cute little boy. Okay, so heat up a couple tablespoons of olive oil in your pan and add in your leeks. It's going to take a while for these to really cook down. I think it took 20-25 minutes for me. You want them to first become translucent and then turn the heat down and then cook them really slowly until they actually start to fall apart. A little bit of browning is okay. This was my final state. Add some water if you feel like they're browning too much. Then you're going to want to turn off your heat and add in your Dijon mustard. So put your leeks aside, heat up some more olive oil in that same pan, and then pour in half of your mushrooms. You're gonna add half the garlic and then 1 of your sprigs of rosemary. Mix it all around so that it gets evenly coated in the oil, and then leave it for a couple minutes so that it gets seared on one side of the mushrooms. Then you're gonna keep working it down until the mushrooms are brown, soft, and have released their moisture. Once all your toppings are done, you're gonna pull out that flaky olive oil dough from the fridge and you're gonna go ahead and roll it out. You want it to be 12 inches in diameter. So you're gonna see I want it to be very exact because I already had too many mushrooms. I was gonna try to fit them all. So once you have it out at 12 inches in diameter, go ahead and put it on a lined baking sheet. And then you're gonna add your toppings. So first we're gonna start with the leeks. Go ahead and add those in an even layer. Then on top of that, you're going to add your mushrooms. Like I've said, I had too many mushrooms. I knew that I bought too many, so I piled them all on top, and then you'll see I actually ended up removing some as I placed them out, just because I realized I was not going to be able to fold the edges over. I didn't want it to be just like so tall on top that it wasn't even across. Now I'm gonna go ahead and fold over the sides. You wanna really press down to make sure the dough will stay. And then you're going to cover it in a layer of olive oil. So take that same pastry brush, take a little bit more olive oil and run it all around the sides of the pastry. Add some salt and pepper to taste on top and then put it in your oven at 350. This should take 35 to 45 minutes to be done, and you want that crust to be browned. You'll hear in a minute that mine was not browning, but in the meantime, you want to add your breadcrumbs, nutritional yeast, rosemary, garlic, and just get that brown on the stove. Then put it aside and we'll put it on top at the end. Okay guys, so it is 7 o'clock. I am like already late for my dinner party and it looks cooked. The pastry seems cooked, but it's not browning, and I don't know, it's been the time it's supposed to be to brown. It's not browning. Like maybe it's too thick, but the diameter was 12 inches. So I don't know. So anyway, I'm turning it onto broil, crossing my fingers. Let's just see what happens. Okay, breadcrumbs have been sprinkled. It's looking good. I'm gonna dash off. Here's my banana bread. I'm gonna dash off to the dinner party and we'll get some better pictures of it there. Here was the final state. Definitely a hit at the dinner party, no complaints. It was a good side, but I definitely wouldn't consider this a main course as she suggests in the book. But here's my final review. Hey guys, so I figured we'd do a little bit of a post-mortem on the recipe and what I thought. Overall, first, I'm really glad I didn't wait for the crust to actually brown and that I just broiled it at the end, because it was definitely cooked, but it was not browned like in her video. Maybe that was my oven, where the heat was coming from, who knows. I would definitely, so I did a combination of oyster, oyster mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms, and trumpet mushrooms. I would not do the trumpet mushrooms again. I just gave it a shot. I hadn't tried them before. They were really a bit dense and too chewy. They weren't super pleasant to eat. That said, I would also have chopped all of the mushrooms smaller. The recipe just says 1 inch pieces, and I think I just did 1 inch by one dimension, not the other, so I would have just cut them up finer. And I think overall my review was that it was a bit dry. I would probably do the flaky pie dough, the flaky all butter pie dough instead of the olive oil one. The olive oil one was fine. It actually had more steps, and who doesn't love a buttery pie crust? So unless you're going for vegan or choosing olive oil for certain reasons, I would just go with butter. I think that would have added a bit more moisture, and I think perhaps I had a hard time with the mushrooms. I think that they didn't release as much water as I had thought. I usually use like a portobello, mini bella mushrooms, and these just did not release nearly as much water, so I found it to be dry, and I had too many mushrooms, which I mentioned. But so overall, this was not my favorite. It's a good recipe, especially if you are working with a vegan menu. For my particular audience, like my boyfriend and my friends, this would simply not be enough food. I know she says that it serves 4 as a main course. I really measured out my diameter correctly, like very specifically, and it just wasn't a ton of food. And I had more mushrooms than she had even asked for on mine. So definitely wouldn't consider it a main course. I think it would be it was a good side to accompany a different protein in the meal. Overall, I would recommend the tomato tart, which is just a couple pages before in Dessert Person. This is phenomenal. I want to make it again. It's heirloom tomato season, so now's the time. So I would recommend that. If you are not looking for a vegan recipe, I would definitely recommend that. Yeah, so not my favorite. I would give it a 6 out of 10. Mushrooms are expensive. It was a little bit dry, but the flavors are great. The rosemary, garlic, you really can't go wrong. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked it, and please subscribe if you liked the video. Thanks. Bye.